Hey, Chris, what's up, man?
Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair.
Because we haven't even started yet, Gumby. Spazzo, what's up, man? Hey, Bobby, what's up, dude? Yes, I hope everybody's having a good week. I missed you guys this weekend. I did, and appreciate all the well wishes. All right, have to pregame the Jocko. All right, go Team Venture. Oh, let's kick it off. I was just kind of perusing the news for tonight because I'm thinking, what's up, everybody? Missed y'all this weekend. I was thinking we'll just do a quick pass through the news. If there's anything super interesting, we'll hit it up. Maybe spend about an hour on it. Then we'll go do a little hack the box. I was thinking that would be a fun thing to do tonight. Oh, dudes, I am. Yes. So I was actually looking at something because I'm acutely aware of where the injuries are all lying. So I'm thinking probably what happened is So this right here is your left shoulder, right? So this is where I landed. All of the pain is stationed right along here. So I'm fairly certain these muscles right through here are kind of what got damaged, but also a bunch of the intercostal muscles over the ribs. And then I'm pretty sure I stressed out where the ribs and the cartilage meet in the front when I landed on that shoulder. So I was just kind of actually, as I was looking at it, I was like, oh, what's going on here? So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's kind of the damage pattern there. Good news is that the ER, when they did the X-ray, they didn't see any breaks or anything. They did a couple of X-rays on me, said everything was good. But oof, it's been a rough week. The mornings suck the worst because all the pain meds have worn off overnight, and getting out of bed sucks. Other than that, the day's fairly tolerable. But I missed you guys. I felt bad because I had to miss Saturday and Sunday. But I was beat down, and so I still need to actually. I forgot we actually hit the follower goal, 1,337 followers. So that was the elite status for the stream. So now I still got to do some kind of a special stream. I got to figure out what to do for that, but that is still on the books. Got to get that taken care of. But other than that, guys, it's been a fairly chill week after that. I got some stuff I'm working on. Hopefully I'll have a blog post out that I can show y'all here next month or so. It's nothing going to be fantastical, but I think it's going to be interesting and fun. Doing a little bit more of the AI on the offensive realm. Speaking of the AI in the offensive realm, one of the articles I saw here was actually pretty cool. Let's see, where did I see that? That's a good place to start off tonight. Let me see. There it is. Hydra MCP. So it's a Python command line MCP for Ghidra, or I like to call it Gahydra. Let's see what they're doing with this. Let's see. MCP server that brings the full analytical power of Gahydra. So it bridges Ghidra's program API and flat program API together. Ooh. And so just an FYI, I know this was probably being written by AI. As long as it functions well, nobody's going to care, but it always going to make things look a little suspect. When you have things like this, emoji overload, that is a dead giveaway for AI stuff. Let's see. Let's see what they're looking at here. Agent ready, built for intelligent agent-driven workflows. Okay. I mean, I like the idea here. Yes, yet another Ghidra MCP. It is. You see what tools they've gotten here. So they got a code search and a cross-reference tool. Find and list all cross-references to a given function. Decompiles, list and exports, function search. Actually, list exports could be pretty handy for like a specialty agent, just because sometimes you need to find one for other things, like whenever you're doing DLL shadowing or what is it? DLL proxying. You want to know what those exports are so you can intercept that. But yeah, this was just a fun one that I came across. I'll keep this in mind. I'm looking forward to whenever the agent ingester for HackBot gets done. That's gonna make some really cool stuff. Oh, by the way, so if you guys hadn't seen, recently, I mean, recently as in during DEF CON, Spectre Ops released Open Graph. Spectre Ops Open Graph. See if I can get this to pull up here. Of course, my computer starts acting funny like before we even start today. I really got to talk to their website designers because this up here is atrocious. Oh wait. There we go. So the idea here, though, is that with Open Graph, you can kind of think of like your identity management stuff and go beyond what traditionally Bloodhound has done, which is Active Directory and Azure Entra stuff, right? But let's say your client, when you're doing a pen test, they want you to actually try to get into their GitHub. Maybe their GitHub is where their crown jewels are. They're a software company, right? So you got to try to find a way to get over into that. Well, then using some of these Open Graph things, you can actually go through and model like what permission sets you've got in GitHub, and then see, oh, okay, cool, GitHub's tied over to Entra, Entra's tied into Active Directory, and you could start using that to build an attack path all the way through there inside of Bloodhound. So it's really freaking cool. I've been meaning to mess with it, just haven't had the time to. But something like that, plus, where was it? We saw Jampound, I think during the last news cycle. But there was another one in here. I just saw it. Hang on. Where was that? vCenter Hound. Here it is. So this collects your infrastructure and permission data from vCenter, export it to Bloodhound compatible graphs. Like, nice. Do they have any examples? I hate when they don't have any example pictures. Come on. I'm a very simple guy. Yeah, okay, you have a star's history. That's great. What I want, though, is like an example of the pictures of like what the graph looks like. Like, what are the nodes? All right, here's our nodes. So vCenter, root folder. And if you haven't messed with vCenter before, I don't blame you. It's a little bit troublesome to get access to, but there's a lot of fun stuff you can do inside there as far as attack paths are concerned. So coming through and representing all this is pretty cool. Let's see. So you can have vCenter contains if it has a host or if it's using certain data stores. Because sometimes you gotta remember, you don't necessarily need access to the computer. Sometimes you just need access to the computer storage. Can you get to the data store then? Hey, Hats and Euler. What's up, guys?
Incoming transmission from E_Euler.
I'm still gonna say it, Euler. I know it's supposed to be Euler. So, yeah, I thought this was pretty cool. Here, by the way, for any of y'all that are doing live pen tests, I'll drop this down here. This one I thought was pretty cool to see in here too. I'm just kind of bouncing around here in the beginning. Just a couple of ones that I saw that, hey, these stories actually kind of fit together. So we're kind of just messing with it. But yeah, the open graph stuff is pretty cool. So anything that you can think of that has rules, permissions, and identities for accessing things, you could now go model over in Bloodhound. And there's some really cool ones I think people have already released. I want to say somebody's working on one for Kubernetes. And Kubernetes is pretty bulky. So if you could model that out into a graph, that would be sick. Because a lot of people think Kubernetes is a lot more secure than it is, but it's actually really auto-magically helpful out of the box. It's got a lot of... And I was talking to one guy about it. He was actually a researcher for... not a researcher, but he specialized in Kubernetes. And he's like, dude, the way he views Kubernetes is damn vulnerable by design, kind of like the way Active Directory is, right? So, lots of stuff to be had there. All right, let me stop bouncing around. Let's actually go through the news real quick. Did you see what the Havoc Ukrainian agency rained on Russian state TV? No, I didn't hear about that, Hats. I did not, man. Let's see. Actually, let's go ahead and talk about this one. I was going to gloss over it because it was honestly, it's a great big nothing burger, but it actually got a lot of traction. So let's go ahead and talk about this. So these guys came out and they said there's a DOM-based extension clickjacking for password managers to put your data at risk. Now, this came out of part of DEF CON 33, but the idea here, though, is that basically you can inject clickjacking into a bunch of different password managers, and then if you can trick the user into clicking certain things via that click tracking, you could have it do an autofill in there and then exfil those passwords. Okay, that's really cool, except one, it kind of breaks the trust between like, hey, where's the usability versus the security, right? Actually, I like what the guys over at Bad Sector suggested here, which was using a hardware token to kind of defeat this. Hardware tokens are really cool too if your password safe stays solely on device. If you've got the password safe and you take it with you, like on your phone, it's a little bit different situation there. So there's always, again, the give and take between this. This was kind of interesting, but it wasn't really anything great. So I did want to cover it a little bit here. Okay, so some Ukrainian agency rooted a government ISP. Let's see. Kicked all the admins and aired real war data for 3 hours on all the state's nation TVs. Dude, that's I haven't seen a TV hack happen in a long time. That's pretty funny. Oh, too good. All right, let's see here. All right, so what are they talking about here? So is clickjacking still exploitable vulnerability nowadays? Many bug bounty programs have this vulnerability listed that's out of scope, and in better cases, they'd accept it but don't reward it. So the reason is there's many protections available today that significantly reduce the impact of this vulnerability, and it can be said that a common web clickjacking vulnerability has already been solved and can be easily defended against. The result of this research is that clickjacking is still a security threat, but it's necessary to shift it from web applications to browser extensions, which are more popular nowadays. Think password managers and crypto wallets. So I describe a new attack technique. That's stretching it, but I'll give it to you. With multiple attack variants and tested against 11 password managers, the result is discovering several ODay vulnerabilities, that could affect stored data on tens of millions of users. So a single click anywhere on an attacker-controlled website could allow attackers to steal user data. Attacker-controlled website. That's always the kicker there. So the new technique in general could be applied to just about any type of extension. Let's see. So key information here. So a new clickjacking technique, not really new, bro, where malicious scripts manipulate UI elements that browser extensions inject into the DOM by making them invisible using JavaScript. Let's see. He did against 11 different password managers. So a single click anywhere on the attacker's website could leak credit card details, including security codes. According to 6 out of 9 were vulnerable. All password managers filled credentials not only in the main domain, but also all subdomains. Now, I thought that part actually was interesting from all this, that let's say you go to google.com and you go to sign in, yeah, it's going to fill in your Google your Google credentials. But let's say you also go to mail.google.com or just to Gmail, right? It's also going to be using like your Google credentials. So what they're saying is every subdomain it would kind of fill in from there. Oh, no technical details on the article? Dang, that's... I would like to have seen like a write-up on that, but chances are we'll probably never get it. And if we do, it'll be like 20 years from now. Let's see. Let's see. All the vulnerabilities were reported in April of 2025 with a notice for public disclosure. Some vendors have still not fixed the vulnerability. Bitwarden, OnePass. And when you say... And so this is a bit of a disingenuous statement. They say they haven't fixed the vulnerability. It's because they know what the issue is, and they know the issue is kind of a corner case and breaks the usability of the system. And in some cases, the proposed fix, which we'll talk about later, I don't want to jump the gun, actually decreases security in a lot of instances of your password manager. So we'll get down to that. Just no spoilers yet. Let's see. So for Chromium-based browser users, it's recommended to configure site access to on-click and extension settings. That's actually where the problem comes in. Like I said, I'm not going to jump ahead too much. We're going to look at it a little bit here. Let's see. It doesn't tell you anything else there. Okay. So while browsing websites, users often encounter intrusive web elements that block immediate access to the target content. Things like cookie consent banners. That planet. Hey, man. What's up, man? Oh, hang on. I got to readjust. I got to try and not slouch. There we go. Oof. Yeah, it's like all right up in my meat here. It hurts. And let's see. But yeah, so we've all seen these. Hey, these really annoying pop-ups that come up across every website. Sometimes it's as many as like 3 clicks that come in there. Oh, dude, you know what? I'm gonna suck it up, and I'm gonna not complain. I'm trying not to complain about it too much because Honey Badger is just fine. He didn't get hurt. I took the full impact, and as far as I'm concerned, that's the way it's supposed to be. So, but I gotta remember not to slouch down. I gotta keep my posture. All right, so let's talk about clickjacking of web applications. Let's see. So this is a client-side attack technique. Exploits visual layering and to hijack a user's click intended for a legitimate interface on that element, and instead uses an invisible iframe, basically laying one over the other. So you think you're clicking something, but there's an invisible click that happens in the middle. So the basic principle is the attacker creates a malicious page with the invisible iframe containing whatever the target website is, User visits the malicious page, clicks on an apparently legitimate visible element. Clicks are then actually intercepted by the hidden iframe and perform unwanted actions on the target site. Pretty much. And there's actually plenty of headers that are supposed to kind of block this. This is where the idea, though, of the extensions comes into play here. So clickjacking in web applications has a minimal security impact in most cases because users are not authenticated in the loaded iframe and therefore prevent the malicious activity. But for password managers, basically becomes a lot simpler whenever they're trying to do this. Let's see. Here's a list of all the password managers that were tested. 1Password, Bitwarden, Dashlane, NPass, Keeper, LastPass, LogMeOnce, NordPass, ProtonPass, and RoboForm. I've only experienced like maybe 3 of these. I also added iCloud passwords to the list because it's pretty widely used. I want to mention that iCloud passwords was tested only as a browser extension. So the autofill feature here is kind of like whenever you visit a website and it automatically drops in your credentials, right? Versus there's an automatic autofill and then a manual autofill that happens here. So one, as soon as you hit the site, bam, your credentials are instantly in there. Manual autofill is, hey, what credentials do you want to drop in here? That's where it does it. So this research focused on clickjacking. So the click is required, and once you focus here. So it could take as many as 2 clicks, sometimes as many as 3 or 4, depending on what you're trying to actually exfiltrate from the system. So clickjacking vulnerability in browser extensions works pretty similarly. Through clicking, the user unknowingly performs an action that causes their browser extension to execute malicious activity such as a data exfiltration or basically any other thing you can activate through a click. Let's see. So browser extensions, clickjacking has 2 kind of categories to it: iframe and DOM based. Which I don't think this is actually really nothing new. He said it's a new vulnerability, but it's not really. And what you're going to find out is a lot of these vendors actually already knew about this, and these were conscious decisions because it breaks the functionality of the password manager. And you got to think about it. If you go visit some site and let's say 1Password gets leaked, yeah, that kind of sucks, but that also speaks to the strength of the password manager because then only 1Password got leaked. Anyway, let's see here. So publicly documented clickjacking techniques for browser extensions exploit misconfigured web access resources in their manifest.json. Here, that's kind of what he's breaking down. So when files with significant functionality are defined in the web access resources, an attacker can create a page that loads the file into a transparent iframe and tricks the user into unknowingly clicking the extension elements. Like this, for example, you can do Chrome extension ID file HTML. So notice how he's hitting a Chrome extension instead of like an actual website in the iframe. And there's a little example right there. So with 4 clicks, it was possible to share all items from the password manager to the attacker's account. The result was the attacker gained access to all stored passwords, credit cards, personal data. Okay, yeah. But you also still had to go visit their website, and that's still kind of weird. Let's see here. He talks about the the manifest, now the protection. So only necessary files should be able to gain access to those web resources. So when exploiting HTML or script files that enable extension interactions, such as a state modification or a background script, yada yada, restrict access using matching parameters to limit loading to a specific trusted domain. Now, how are you supposed to limit it to a particular trusted domain whenever you're doing a password manager? It's supposed to literally inject into every single website. Let's see. But he'd actually give the steps here. So the first one is create an intrusive element like a cookie consent, Cloudflare CAPTCHA, whatever. Create a login form. Set the transparency for that to like minimal. Use the focus function from JavaScript to kind of fill it in there. Let's see. Make that UI element invisible. The victim accepts or rejects the cookies. So that's 1 click and another click in here. Exfiltrate. They really don't like that word in Copilot. I used it in a non-hacking related question. It still gave me a notion about illegal activity. It's funny because they try so hard and get so far, but in the end it doesn't even matter because it's all one jailbreak away. Couldn't you do something to ensure the password manager only autofills the form of the intended domain? Why, yes, you can, Band. And actually, that's one of the things that I think is the big gotcha and makes this really not much of an interesting case. And that is, notice how it has you going to some attacker-controlled site, right? Well, let's say you go to some attacker-controlled site. When you're working in there, one thing I've noticed is that I have checked out links that look legit. However, I noticed that because the URL is similar but not exact, that my password manager doesn't want to do the autofill. So that has saved me many times. So the TLDR behind this is, and he goes into more detail here, but working with this stuff, and he's saying like, hey, by the way, you should turn this off and you should only do it this way. There's no perfect way to kind of prevent this. And I bet he probably does not include the response from, because I like what he's doing here, but I don't want to read this whole thing. Where is it? From 1Password. Let's see. I don't really have a lot of love for people that are storing credit card data in 1Password either. I know it can do it, but I don't even do that. Let's see. So the most significant limitation to the auto lock and functionality based on an activity timer. So by default, it's enabled to be a very short time in 1Password or NPass. Some others have also have this restriction, but largely inactive. Yeah. I wanted to see if he mentions. No, I don't think he did. But essentially, 1Password is like, hey, we're aware of this. Bitwarden did actually go put out a fix for it. But the long and short of it is that, yeah, it was interesting, but you still have to get to the attacker-controlled website. So either you got to find a website that's got some kind of cross-site scripting on it, or you have successfully eaten a fish and you clicked around a whole bunch in there. So it's interesting work, but at the same time, it's way, way overhyped, in my opinion. ChatGPT refused to provide me with a payload, but then I asked them the same thing without using the P word, and it was fine with it. I know, right? I was actually trying to convince my, I tried really hard to convince my boss to let me use my professional development budget. I've given a budget for each year, and I wanted to try and get a small AI server from NVIDIA, one that they're starting to release this fall. And unfortunately, because of some stupid IRS rule, it doesn't count. I was like, dang it. Because I wanted to try and use it for training specialized models for building malware loaders, largely based off of the work that Outflank did for Dante. But I've got access to a couple of other special goodies that could have made it really, really cool. Unfortunately, not going to happen. That server also wasn't really well tuned for training models. It was more tuned for running chunky models. It had a lot of memory in it. It had dual processors in it. It would have been really cool, but I couldn't quite pull it off. Let's see. What else we got here? Meta signed a $10 billion cloud deal with Google. Good for them. Let's see. Russia's doing something with WhatsApp Rival. Has to be pre-installed on all systems. Now, I think that's actually a pretty cool... What's it say? WhatsApp calls are experiencing extreme packet loss in Russia, likely an effort to push users to max. Probably. Training budget, training AI, same thing. I know, right? I was actually talking to my boss about it, and I understood that it was a long shot that would ever get through, because hardware acquisitions are always just kind of weird when it comes to IRS rules. But I was like, what? This is actually really just a rule for punishing self-learning, right? If I went to go sign up for a class and the class required me to have that NVIDIA server, then yeah, it's great. Yeah, oh yeah, it was required materials for the course. It's really, really dumb. So back in Direct Connect times, we used to have this little exe that was basically running Deltree on Winder. We just renamed it to whatever someone asked for, like Super Everything Hack, and shared it to people who asked for auto tools. Nice. One of my good buddies, he likes to do one hats where he would actually send a legit proof of concept to somebody and it would do the exploit. However, the very last line, like the last thing it would run is it would just run an RMRF against the entire root drive and just wipe their system out. So yeah, you got your shell, but your system is dead. I'll make a course just for you that requires it. Do it, band. You have until the end of the year. Now, the kicker is you actually have to get it and supply it as part of the course materials. It's not like, oh yeah, you're required to have this and then I got to go buy it. No, it actually has to be part of like the course materials. It's like, oh yeah, you pay us, $1,000 and then we send you all the course materials and the server. Which actually, that's not true. The server was only like $4,000. And I cringe to say only because at the same time, though, you're talking like RTX, was it like the 5090s are running like 3,000 or something ridiculous. Let's see what else we've got in here. I thought we looked at this one. Actually, there was one really cool I did want to go look at here. DLL forward side loading. This one looks pretty cool. Let's see. So some DLL export functions via their export table that are just forwarding execution to functions implemented in other libraries. So it's very common practice and one for many known forwarders. Like, for example, kernel 32 DLL actually just forwards it over to the RTL alloc heap. So here's an example. Now, most of us assume that a lot of the forwards redirect the execution to the most popular Windows DLLs, and these are typically just your regular known DLLs like NT32 or ATDLL, kernel base, OLI32, ones that are basically on the known DLL list and very often already loaded into memory. So I decided to check what forwards we can find in Windows 11 because I had a cunning plan. If I could find a forward that does not redirect to known DLLs, then I can execute an indirect DLL sideload, one that's on par with a traditional executable sideloading technique. Nice. What is that thing and where might you buy one? It's the NVIDIA DGX Spark. This guy. They're currently taking reservations for it now. It's pretty cool. It's this little guy here. And honestly, for the price and for the performance for like what kind of AI models you can run, it's pretty legit. It's got... Let me see let me check the specifications real quick. I thought it had 2 in here, but I guess it just has the 1 in here. But it's running an ARM processor. It's also running a Blackwell GPU in here. I think it's on par with about the H100. But the real kicker in this is the system memory is about 128 gigs on this. And so the way they're doing this, they're doing unified memory. So if you can reduce your CPU usage of RAM and increase your GPU usage of RAM, you basically got 128 gigs of VRAM that can be used on it, more or less. 128 gigs that the GPU has access to for running big models. So in theory, depending on how you've got it set up, you could possibly run up to a 200 billion parameter model on this little server. I believe so, Hats. I think it is kind of like just the Jetson beefed up with more RAM. Wait, what was this? So on top of the Deltree one, we also had others that generate empty files in random locations. Another one was installing quiz in Windows 90 boot, then reboots the machine if you did not answer right on 10 questions, like how many bits are in a byte. Oh, that's funny. That's trollware. That's what that is. So yeah, this was what I was trying to get a hold of for work. Now, I don't know actually how well this would have done. Let me think about this real quick. For something I was trying to do, because for, what did they do? I want to say they had like 562 machine hours on H100s whenever they were training the Dante model. I want to say that's how many they were. So you're talking, it would take about a month to train on something like this. I think this chipped in here is roughly the equivalent to an H100. So would have been cost effective over time, but not really speed effective, because he spent about $1,000 in training costs to train Dante. So it would have been interesting for testing, but then once you got to the point where you could actually really do it, try to bypass other EDRs, then you probably would have moved off of this. This would be like a prototyping system, and move on to something like an actual like rented H100 for that. Oh, good old Windows 98. You know, at some point, just about everybody in here logged out of Windows XP for the last time and didn't even know it. I guess people really wanted those AI girlfriends to have a field that will have a field day. Not really, that's because they're so hard to get a hold of. It was supposed to have been released back in May, and they haven't released it yet. I finally got an email saying they're getting ready to release it. That's what sparked the conversation with my manager. Then I used an ATM and I was right back in Windows XP. You ain't wrong, man. Oh, good old XP. I loved that. All right. Let's get back over to this. I was waiting for the ads to run, so I was catching up with chat for everybody. Let's see. All right, so what he's looking for is an indirect DLL that he can load in here. So using a signed run DLL 32 exe to load a signed DLL that will load the payload of the DLL to your choice, which is basically what we look for. So he created a list of forwards. So we identified a couple of the known DLL pairs where, let's see, so key ISO forwards over to, or this function actually forwards over to encrypt prov. So look at the key ISO DLL and then placing the payload in encrypt prov.dll in the same folder, and then finally executing our run DLL 32. We'll load a copy of the key ISO DLL first, and then the function resolution to that function. So this will resolve it first to our encrypto, forward it, and then automatically load basically our payload in here. And only then execute the function's code. So in this example, I didn't bother to implement the set auditing interface in the untested DLL, just to showcase the execution flow leading and actually misleading, since it goes over this. And we get the missing API box. Nice. So this technique does not need to rely on an OS library. So I'm pretty sure that with a bigger study of exported functions from a larger corpus of signed DLLs will yield another set of combos. I love this idea, especially since this is largely like living off the land with this. Although, I mean, in this particular example, right, if you're doing run DLL 32, then that usually tends to get caught. There's other ways that you could potentially approach this, though. But as a proof of concept, this is pretty legit. I like this idea. This is awesome. I've got several XP machines. One runs an old off-road mapping tool. The other runs a vehicle diagnostic cable tool. And I have an actual Windows 98 and Tectronic logic analyzer. Of course, none of these were ever seen on the internet again. Yeah, right? All those other fun tools. What about other techniques? What else we got here? We do operating outside the box, NTL and relay, low priv, auth. I'm sure we talked about that one already. Let's see. Let's see. What is this one? How to rob a hotel. I don't know what he's got going on here. I think I'm going to pass on that. Let's go down to tools and exploits here. Let's see. What is this? Legba 110. Multi-protocol credential brute force sprayer. Oh, cool. I know it's Legba, but it looks a lot like Legba. Oh, what is this? This is right on par with what we were just looking at. DLL Shimmer. Weaponized DLL hijacking made easy. Backdoor any function in any DLL. Ooh. Let's go take a look at that. Yeah. Dagobah. That's right. You go there, you download that, and then you can talk to Yoda, an AI Yoda. That's exactly what it is. Let's see. So what does this guy do? Backdoor any function in DLL without disrupting the normal process operations. Cool. Sounds like what they're doing is probably just systematizing doing DLL proxy. Let's see. So our shimmer comes in, we get our extra thing, we add in our little code. Software loads the original DLL, our backdoor files, but then it actually does forward over to the original DLL here. The DLL shimmer parses the original DLL and extracts information about the exported functions. Based on this information, Shimmer creates a boilerplate C++ file. The generated file allows you to add your own code to each function exported from the original DLL without disrupting the normal operations of the program. So no reverse engineering or instrumentation is required because Shimmer does not rely on function signatures. The second file generated is a def file, which ensures the DLL exports from the proxy after compilation will have the same names and ordinal numbers as the original DLL. So let's go look at an example here. So backdoor version DLL. Here, so we backdoor this. We have a project. And then what is X here? Hold on, where's his usage? What's TACX do? Oh, okay, so X is the Wait, hold on. He's got this backwards. Oh, this is dynamic linking. Provides the path where the proxy DLL will find the original DLL in the target system. So, for example, if we're trying to backdoor version DLL, it's usually found in system 32 here. Cool. What's this? Backdoor random chat DLL. Okay. Very cool. What about backdooring some other random app DLL? Okay. So what does our mutex do? Enabling this option will add a mutex to the source file, which prevents your backdoor from being executed more than once during a single program run. This is crazy important right here, actually. I got to test this out because it's pretty common that you can go backdoor the WebView system by doing a DLL plant on Windows systems, and it's used by every damn thing, especially Teams, right? So if you want to go operate in the context of Teams and be able to do stuff with that, that's great because it uses WebView all the time. However, if you don't have a mutex in there, something that says, hey, are we already operating? No, then execute. If so, don't execute. Then you just end up with a dozen like shells just happening in there. And some of them are completely useless. They don't live very long. Do you want 2,000 callbacks? Because that's how you get 2,000 callbacks. That's right, Ford. Dude, Norby, I posted up on Discord. I'm not sure if you're up on there, but I got into a pretty good ATV accident on Saturday, and I was just very out of commission. I'm still crazy beat up and sore. Taking just an absolute ton of Ranger candy, 800 milligram ibuprofen, and some muscle relaxers and one other thing, like when it gets real bad, and my ribs are just jacked. So, for the long story short, for anybody who didn't know about this, what happened is Saturday I was out with the kids. We were doing some ATV riding, and I borrowed my buddy's nice big chunkin' utility ATV. It's not a racing ATV like we normally have with the nice suspension and everything. It's a big chunkin' boy meant for like helping out on a farm. Let's be real, that's what it is. But it's nice for following the kids around the track. You can just kind of putter along, you can follow them. Well, I took Honey Badger with me. So Honey Badger has his own helmet. He's got his own little race gear. He was having a great time riding his tiny electric ATV around the campsite while the kids were racing back through the woods. So I go take him up in my lap. I take him on Big Blue, and we're going through the woods a couple times. Well, we're coming back around, and I took a slightly different path coming back around. We've got basically two straightaways that come in at the rear side of the track that come back into the campsite. Well, there was this big bump in there, huge on just the right side. I couldn't see it because of the way the grass was cut. We hit that sucker and it threw us both up. Now, I could have probably controlled it if Honey Badger had not been there. Honey Badger is only 3 years old though. So he's riding real loose in the seat. He doesn't really have a great handhold. He's been holding on to my legs. So when that bump threw us up, I was like, we're just gonna have to ditch. So I grabbed him, balled him up in the biggest dad hug I could, and we dove for it. And I came down on my left shoulder, just full force. So we come down, we roll. Actually, I was trying to think about the mechanics of how everything ended up. Because by the time we were done, Honey Badger was here. I was here. The ATV was here. I was like, how did this even happen? Because when I rolled, basically I rolled and kept him kind of balled up. Basically left him behind, and I kept rolling, and the ATV kept rolling. So I got just completely thrashed on my ribs. So that's why there was no stream this weekend. It was a beatdown, and thank God Sock was actually there, because she was able to just go drive me over to the ER, get checked out real fast. Ugh. Dude, Honey Badger is scary, man. Yeah, he actually still had a good time. It scared him. He got a little bit of a scratch on his arm, but he's fine. He still had fun. He's going to want to get back out there. But I'm just very grateful. He was just fine. Like I said, he got a tiny scratch on his arm. I took all the impact, and I was like, that's kind of the way it should be. So I had this just massive road rash up here on my shoulder from it. And I'm pretty sure I stressed out where the bones and the cartilage in the chest kind of interface, and did a little bit of damage to the muscles in my back, because it feels like there's just a spike running through me, front and back, where it hurts. But you know what? I'll get over it. I'll heal up. Every time I see you, you're either breaking or have just broken your spine in an ATV accident. I'm starting to think we need a restraining order. The first back injury wasn't an ATV accident. That was me hopping off the pickup truck and blowing out a disc in my back, getting ready to go to ATV practice. That was not on an ATV. Can we stick to breaking networks and systems and not bones? I'm working on it, Noipy. The problem, I think I probably could have saved that if I had hit that bump and Honey Badger wasn't with me. I could have gotten up on my feet, balanced out, corrected. I would have been fine. But he was with me, and I wanted him to go have a good time and run around. And so I was like, gotta protect the little one, and took that took that on the shoulder like a dad. That's just how it do, man. The hardest part now is when they want to jump on me. I'm like, oh, dude, don't jump on me right now. Banned from all motorized vehicles. I like my motorized vehicles. Here, let me drop a link to this real quick. I like this DLL shimmer. This thing is pretty legit. I think this is gonna be pretty cool. I'm gonna go mess with this, actually. I'm gonna go test it out with the WebView, with WebView proxying, because once you get that set up, that kind of comm hijack, you can get just 1,000 shells in there easy. Everything uses the WebView process in Windows. Let's see. Oh, actually, this looks really interesting. Create process as a PPL, which is protected process light. Because I've been wondering, I know somebody I think has done research in this, but like, what happens if you actually run your, like, say your C2 implant as a PPL? I don't know if you'd have a lot of benefit to that. It might confound some of the cheaper EDRs, but most of the times those EDRs are running in kernel land anyway. So they'd be able to read the memory in PPL. Oh yeah. Not sponsored by Jocko yet. I need a life-size plush ATV. Ow, shit. Oh, laughing hurts. Ow. Oh, thanks, hats. Oh, laughing hurts. Ooh. Oh, that hurt. That was funny, but shit, that hurt. Ow. Oh. That only proves the point. Eat me. Eat me. Oh. By the way, for anybody who doesn't know what PPL is, typically in Windows systems, if you run across protected process light, it restricts a bunch of the things. You might see LSAS run as PPL, and then even if you have administrator credentials, you can't go dump the memory out of LSAS. You actually have to be running in the kernel to go do it. So, have I looked into VBS stuff yet? Which VBS stuff? Because I may have and I may not have. I've been focused so much on the AI stuff right now. I'm actually working on a CTF that I'm hoping to have out in time for Advent of Cyber. See, Vacation Bible School was the first place I went to with that, Ford. Virtualization-based security? No, Band, I have not looked into that. I was thinking either it's some kind of Visual Basic, Vacation Bible School, or something else. But no, I haven't seen that yet. Wait, hold on. Is that the one where they're using Hyper-V to basically shuttle the processes off into a different kernel in the hypervisor? Oh, okay. I heard about it. I haven't looked at it, though. I like the idea, though. I think it's really interesting. Oh, my ribs. An article about exploiting PPL programs to destroy Windows Defender? Oh, actually, hold on. Let's look at this. Speaking of anime waifus... Oh, this is actually really recent. Countering EDRs with the backing of PPL. Let's see. So important or sensitive processes in modern Windows OSs are now protected by PPL, Protected Process Lite. You might be familiar with this function if you scrutinize the LSASS process. AV programs or EDR solutions often protect their service programs and client agents by registering them as PPL. So in this article, I'll present how to exploit a process protected by PPL to interact with the protected system components, which cannot be accessed by normal processes without the support of Windows drivers, even if you have system or trusted installer privileges. And this is the kicker to this, so that's why if you're running LSASS as PPL, it makes dumping and getting the information out a lot more difficult. You're typically kind of relegated to maybe like bring your own vulnerable driver type exploits. Let's see. So I'll experiment with using an existing PPL program on Windows to overwrite the service file on Windows Defender. Oh, interesting. So the tool he created, though, Create Process as PPL, runs a process with PPL functionality enabled, provided that the executable file of this process supports it. Oh, that's pretty cool. I need to send this to some of my C2 dev buddies. So we'll look at I think we'll finish up with that one for tonight, Band. We'll run through this one, and then we'll look at that one, and then we'll probably go switch over to HackTheBox for tonight. Thought that might be a fun thing to do. Let's see. So PPL is a Windows security feature introduced in Windows 8.1 and prevents other processes from tampering, terminating, or accessing the memory of critically important services and anti-malware applications. So PPL assigns a security signature to processes, and only processes with an appropriate signature level can interact with the others, creating a security hierarchy. This mechanism helps to protect against malware that tries to compromise system integrity by attacking trusted processes. So PPL relies on digital signatures to verify the integrity of code. Only processes with the correct PPL signature are allowed to perform certain operations on protected processes. So a hierarchy of PPL levels is established, with higher privilege processes being immune from tampering from lower privileged ones. So processes running with the PPL flag are immune to termination or modification by other processes unless the other processes also possess a higher PPL level. So to run an executable with PPL, the executable and any loaded DLLs must be signed by a specific certificate and have the digital signatures verified by the operating system, as detailed in the anti-malware service signing requirements. Imagine your agent running in PPL. That's what I was just thinking for it. I'm sure somebody has already tried that, but I want to see about it. Let's see. So the signature used for PPL is called an EKU. This is a certificate extension that supplies the intended purpose public key defining the certificate that can be used for. So if your executable has a valid EKU signature, it must be called in a specific way to enable PPL functionality. To run it like a regular executable, PPL will not be activated. So to create the process with PPL functionality, the create process function has a couple of flags you have to set. So to have a process protected with PPL, you have two conditions. The executable file must have a valid EKU digital signature. So how do we get that? And then a couple of flags have to be set whenever you're calling it. So I created a simple tool to run a program with PPL enabled. You can download this tool via the link. A program accepts parameters such as protection levels from 0 to 4, the path of the executable file, and additional parameters for running this executable. Let's see. Oh. So at this point, we've actively created a PPL process as desired. And when I say actively, I mean we can freely pass parameters to these PPL processes. So the question is, what can we achieve when we control the parameters of a valid PPL? So while searching for for files with signatures that support PPL, I found something rather interesting, which is clipup.exe. I am not familiar with clipup. The program will automatically spawn a new process of itself, and this new process will have parameters to create log files at any specific location. So if you run clipup with PPL protected using the tool, I'll have the ability to control file write restrictions to a PPL process. Or I'll have the ability to control file writing restricted to a PPL process. So next I'm going to check whether clipup with PPL protection has the permission to write to locations that null processes cannot access. Specifically, this is an executable folder for like Windows. So can we write this to... So since clipup supports PPL, let's see. Protection level Windows. Ran it with number 1. The PPL parameter informs clipup where the log files need to be written. So in this case, he's writing it into let's probably like program files, Microsoft Windows platform here. So that's the short name that leads to the Defender folder, as clipup.exe cannot parse paths with spaces. Huh, that makes sense. I mean, I don't know how old that program is, but it's using the 8.3 formatting here. I wonder why they don't limit PPL to specific vendor signatures. So it's intended to be used by AV and EDR type stuff, so why not have a vendor signature list in your check? Either lack of understanding band, if I had to guess, or probably trying to avoid complexity. Because then they've got to maintain certain types of signatures in there versus just a list of valid signatures. I'm still not sure what is required for this first requirement here. Like when they say it needs a valid EKU. Maybe I missed it. Let me see. So to run a process with PPL, the executable and any loaded DLLs must be signed with a specific certificate and have their digital signatures verified by the operating system as detailed in the anti-malware service signing requirements. So it just has to be validated by the system. So if you get to the point where you can go install a certificate, then you could do that. So maybe less of a, I mean, it's obviously not like an initial infection vector, like you get your execution for your payload. Maybe you have a stager that loads your actual agent as PPL and then runs it. Maybe that's not the case, but maybe as a persistence method, you get access, you get deep access on the system, you load in a certificate, now your PPL looks valid, and then you load your persistent agent as PPL to keep it kind of hidden and maybe off the radar a bit. GCC on Microsoft Visual Studio can't parse file names with a space still. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty much just simple code signing. I don't know. Let's take a look at something real quick here. Where was that? That's just a link to the EKU, but it says it's detailed in the anti-malware service signing requirement. I love that one of the ones is, for love of God, how do I disable this? But anyway, let's come back down. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see above, ClipUp was able to write the file to the Defender folder. However, at this point, we cannot control the contents of the written file. Therefore, the most feasible way to exploit ClipUp is to find a way to overwrite the service file of Defender, which is the MSMP engine. So the issue arises here because Defender is active, so that file is open, cannot be overwritten. So we need to find a time when the Defender service is not running. This is during the Windows startup. So we just need to create a service that runs before Defender, and the service will run the create as PPL to spawn ClipUp with PPL protections. So after that, Defender will not be able to run because the executable file has been corrupted. Excellent. Neat idea. I would actually like to mess with this a little bit more. Create processes PPL. So in this case, he's using a built-in binary from Windows to do it. But I wonder if there's other ones in there. Good Lord, God, how do I disable this? Is basically your typical Windows experience. For me, it was also the same thing on Mac. Like, there was a lot of auto-helpful magical stuff on Mac I didn't really care for. Oh, I forgot I already finished my drink. So tasty. All right, let's take a look at this one from Outflank. I want to say I did read this one from Outflank. Oof. Oh. About the heaviest thing I can lift right now, and I have to do it carefully, is Honey Badger, who weighs about 30 pounds right now. Oh. So even just trying to move my ginormous booty in my chair is a pain. I tell you what, actually, before we get into this, let me go log into HackTheBox, and we'll find a box real quick, and we'll get it booting up before we do this. Let's see. What box do we want to do? Let's go over to machines. Let's pick retired machines. Let's see. Which one looks fun? Are you ready, kids? Aye, aye, Captain. Let's see, which one has like the lowest? Can I sort by system owns? Damn. Area of interest. Let's see if we can find one here. Wait, hold on. They have blockchain ones? Yeah, I didn't think I would find any like that. I can't hear you, but also ads. Let's see. Ah, there we go. Sort by system owned. I'm just curious, like, which ones have fewer system owns in it? This is interesting. Why does this one, which is voted as largely an easy to medium, why does it only have 243 system owns? Or was this, I think this was probably the count while it was active. I think so. Hey, spoiler, what's up, dude? I was just recounting to everybody how I jacked up my ribs. And that's why there was no stream on Saturday and Sunday. Let's see. I'm curious about this one. Oh wait, I thought I had my VIP Plus. Did I not? I guess I didn't. Okay, we'll have to pick a different machine then. I'll have to re-up it later. Turn this off. There we go. Cap is a free one. Maybe we can do this one. Spawn the machine. There we go. We'll get that going while we go read this article here. Let's see. All right, so this is talking about secure enclaves for offensive operations. Oh yeah, we did totally read this one. Yeah. So in short, virtual-based security enclaves provide a software-based trusted execution environment where added as an extension to isolated user mode in VBS. So VBS utilizes Hyper-V to create isolated environments. Like VM isolation, the hypervisor sets memory protections to isolate the environment from the rest of the system kernel via a secondary level address translation. Yeah, man, I thought I would do a little bit of Hack the Box today. There's not a ton of news in there, and with my ribs active the way I thought it'd be a little bit more fun thing to do for tonight. So, that's why if you look on YouTube, that's why it says news-ish for the thumbnail. It's because we're kind of doing some news, doing a little bit of Hack the Box too. Let's see. Let's look at this. So VBS is the technology that enables Credential Guard to protect credentials by storing them in an isolated memory. Oh, I didn't actually realize that, or I didn't remember that at least. Let's see. Microsoft extended the isolated user mode in the VBS environment to allow developers to protect portions of application data in a software-based trusted execution environment known as the VBS Enclave. So the basic premise of TEs is the code and the data residing within these isolated pockets of memory are protected for the rest of the system. In hardware-backed Ts like Intel's SGX, the CPU enforces the privileges. Software-based Ts like Microsoft's Enclaves, the secure kernel running in a separate virtualization stack takes responsibility for ensuring that no process or even the Microsoft Windows OS kernel can tamper with the Enclave protected memory. Virtualization is used to enforce the isolation. The protected boundary is typically enforced using page table manipulations and heavily restricted APIs to load and run the Enclave modules. Let's see. So the architecture design of VBS allows enclaves to protect secrets, intellectual property, or secret operations inside the enclave. So two examples of how the VPS enclave are currently used by Microsoft. They have enhanced phishing protection in Microsoft Defender Smart Screen, making use of the enclave. This mechanism records keystrokes and clipboard data to check whether you entered your password into untrusted resources. So for this, your password is intercepted at login and stored in a hashed format in an enclave. Very cool. I just realized why the audio sounds so weird. There we go. I got it. Miss Dandy B, thank you for coming online. Welcome in. I hope you're having a fantastic, terrific, fantastic. I was trying to say terrific. It turned into fan-terrific. A fan-terrific Taco Tuesday. Vince, I've been better. I busted my ribs up in a little ATV accident over the weekend. So normally I would have been streaming on Saturday and Sunday. There was a little bit of delay in that. So we're picking back up today with a little bit of hacker news, a little bit of Hack the Box. We're going to have a little bit of fun tonight and just chill out. All right, so let's see here. So here's kind of what the oscillation looks like. Yeah, hey, inebriated, it does suck. But you know what? I took the hit, and my son was riding my lap. We got thrown off. I tucked and rolled, took the hit. He's just fine. He got a little scratch on his arm. I got busted ribs. Thankfully, nothing broken. But I think the trade-off was worth it. I need to relax for a bit. Never. No relaxing. I'll get to relax in like 20 years when my kids are, adults and don't want to have anything to do with me. Let's see. Okay, so here's the breakdown of this. So VTL 0 in the kernel, this is kind of like normal Windows OS world. And then we have VTL 0 split up into kernel and user mode. Then we've got VTL 1, which is basically our isolated secure world in here. Hey, Shadows, what's up, man? How you been? Good evening from India. Wait, hold on. It's morning in India. Yeah, good morning. Let's see. All right, here we go. Here's a breakdown of how the enclaves kind of operate. So they create the enclave. You load the enclave image. It gets initialized. You can call the enclave, terminate it, and then deactivate it. So the calling of the enclave is actually the interesting part. Let's see. So once initialized, the host app invokes callable functions in the enclave using the call enclave function. So each call is routed to the secure kernel, which maintains a thread mapping mechanism to handle nested or concurrent enclave interactions. Gotcha. So, you have to have a way to access some of the stuff in here, but it's restricted basically. Rather than being a wide open field, it's like dedicated lanes with security guards and fencing on the sides. So a popular example of a mitigation that is based on VBS is CredGuard. So CredGuard hides secrets in user mode VLT1, which is unreadable from VLT0. So here's where most of the stuff happens down here. VLT1, even the kernel can't cross this boundary, right? Let's see. So CredGuard makes use of an isolated user mode app, also known as a trustlet, which is the El Salsa, something.exe. The IUM app runs entirely in VLT1. This differs from the VBS Enclave model we've described above, but basically where the host app runs in VLT0. So down here on hardware, we've got our slat. It's running. Let's see. We have kernel mode, ring 0, which is funny because they're like, kernel mode's ring 0. It's like, yeah, but really, if you're running in a hypervisor, then you've got like ring -1 and -2 in here. Let's see. So VBS Enclave development was made available to third-party apps in May of 2024. Oh, I didn't realize it was that recent. I thought it had been for a while. They've been around longer than May, but the functionality to support them has been around since earlier versions of Windows 10. Let's see. So the application created the Enclave is responsible for providing a signed DLL that gets loaded into the VLT1 memory. For the secure kernel to consider it trustworthy, the DLL must be production signed using an Azure Trusted Signing. Oh, okay. Wait, hold on. What is Azure Trusted Signing? Let me see. Look at this real quick. Let's see. Azure native resource that offers full support for common Azure concepts such as resources. Trusted Signing has its own set of resources and rules. So you can have a Trusted Signing account, which is an account is a logical container for all the resources you need. You have identity validations and certificate profiles. Okay. Oh, I see how this is going. Okay. So basically, in your management group, you've got a subscription, your resources, and then you can have signing, basically like these logical accounts that group an identity to a certificate or a group of certificates. Okay. Let's see. So as we begin to inspect the memory footprint, we'll encounter a key characteristic of VBS enclaves. Their memory is marked as read-write, but remains inaccessible due to the enclave running in VTL1. So what do they actually use this for? Here we go. So abusing the existing enclave APIs and DLLs. So enclave APIs are available, or the available enclave DLLs might hold the keys to uncovering undocumented functionality, exploitable behavior, or even stealthy ways for operations. So regarding APIs we could potentially abuse, in the past, there was a driver signature enforcement bypass abusing with the enclave data syscall. There's also a call enclave shellcode execution dispatcher. Ooh, nice. So using existing DLLs, we avoid the need for the Azure Trusted Signing. This is also ensures that we're able to, we already use trusted components, helping us hopefully remain under the radar. I always love using like on just trusted components. Living off the land is the best living. So what if we want to debug an existing enclave DLL to discover the attack surface? Since existing DLLs would normally be production signed, we need to resort to a secure kernel debugging, which is quite a few steps involved. However, it allows us not only to debug the enclave DLLs, but also the secure kernel itself. Let's see. But when they were writing this, we had issues setting breakpoints within the enclave DLL code functions on newer versions of Windows. So in Windows 22H2 was the only version on which we could actually set the breakpoints. I wonder what caused that. Yeah. I wonder if they ever came out with part 2. Let me look in their blog real quick. Hang on. Just out of curiosity. Async Bobs. Wake me up before you go. Oh, they did do a part 2. Okay. Unfortunately, it's a bit long, and I don't want to cover it tonight. I think let's try and hop into this HackTheBox lab. Give me 1 second. I need to... I need to download our VPN connection real quick, and then let me get that set up here. Stand by, guys. Let me get this going real quick. Let's see. Do I even have any Cali boxes up and running? Let's see. We do have this one. Let's go ahead and start that box up. We can just use that one from our Hack the Box lab. Let's check and see if the box comes up real quick. Sometimes, for some reason, when this Kali boots up, okay, good. It gets stuck in grub for some weird reason. It looks like this one actually did load up fine. Excellent. This is an older box, but it'll work. Hey, here we go. All right. Give me 1 sec, y'all. I gotta drop into OPSEC mode. Go get this real fast. All right. Let me get this imported over into the system real quick. Why did you not copy? There we go. All right, there we go. I think we got that all set. Actually, let's load us up some T-Mux real quick. There we go. And let's get our VPN set up. Let's see. So let's get our OpenVPN up real quick. Desktop. Yeah, it's right there. There we go. Now we're cooking with propane. This, let's see, what is... You're killing me, Smalls. Let's make sure the ton zero's up. Okay, cool. So we're up, and then what is our target machine? Let's see, so our target IP address is 10.10.10.245. Oh. Hey, thanks, Shadows. I appreciate it, man. I actually need to, I think I want to get a better webcam if I can. This is a little Anchor webcam, but it seems to be doing all right. I was listening to the live stream a week or two ago, and I've noticed that I think the sound is clipping a bit. I think I need to go adjust a tiny bit of the sound settings, because I think what I've got is I have a gate activated in there where it actually doesn't start transmitting until it realizes there's enough sound at a certain point. And I think it's cutting off a little bit too early. So we're going to just have some fun tonight. We're going to run through this in guided mode, have a little bit of fun with it. So let's go check out our first target. So let's just do... That didn't work. There we go. So let's do a little bit of scanning on this real quick, and we'll just see what comes back. Okay, so we got like 3 ports open. We've got, and then let's go ahead and do a version scan on these. Just see what they've got on them real quick. I mean, chances are we're running FTP, or we do have FTP and SSH, but let's just see what it comes back with on those. Unicorn. G Unicorn. Wait a second. Have we done this one? Surely not. No? Okay. Yeah, this doesn't look the same. I was to say, because that looked really, that unicorn thing looked really familiar. It's like, have we done this one before? I don't think so. But, like I said, we're just going to go through. What do we have? How many TCP ports are open? 3. There we go. So let's go dig through. What's our little web app here? What do we have? We've got a dashboard, a security snapshot, an IP config, and network status. Let's look at IP config. What do we have? Let's see. We've got nothing special here. We've got our main interface, our ETH0. We've got a loopback. Nothing super fantastical. Actually, what do we got over here? Settings for Nathan. What do we have? Do we have any settings? Nothing. We message him? No. Well, that's a bummer. So nothing to do with Nathan over here. What about network status? Oh, that's I would actually, if I was on a penetration test, I would probably write this up as a finding because it's giving away a lot of information in here about what's going on with the different Unix sockets on the system. But also not just that, but also this looks like, hey, we're running a netstat.
Caution. A virus has been detected.
S1Y_B0RG virus detected in the network.
S1YBORG virus. Hey, Slyborg, what's up? Welcome in, Raiders. Forgive me because I'm moving a little bit slow today, but come on in. I had a little ATV accident over the weekend and I wrecked my ribs. So I decided we're going to take a little bit of a break from the news tonight. We did a little bit of news, and we're just going to go fiddle around on HackTheBox for a bit. But come on in. Sly, what were you all doing today? Hopefully having fun. Go give Slyborg a shout out. Oh. I did have some fun on the ATV for a little bit. But I was riding with my youngest son and we got thrown off the ATV, long story short. And so I balled him up and I took the impact and so landed on my shoulder. And so now my entire left rib cage is just jacked up right now. It'll be fine. I just got to give it time to heal. There was no bone damage. It was all musculature, basically. Doing some Linux doofs on HackTheBox. Cool. Yeah, thanks, Deb. It will. This just happened on Saturday. And it's funny because I was telling my wife, I was like, I haven't been to the ER ever in my life, and I've been twice this year. But the second time, ironically, this past Saturday, was a lot more enjoyable because the first time I couldn't even walk. This time, after a little bit of ibuprofen, I was up and moving around. Yeah, I took all the impact. The ATV wasn't even damaged, even though it rolled over. But my younger son, Honey Badger, he's 3. He got a little scratch on his arm. That's it. I took 99.9% of that damage, and I'm okay with that. So, actually, we're just messing around right now. We're doing, what box is this over on HackTheBox? We're doing CAP. And mostly we're doing CAP because it was a free box and I forgot to re-up my my VIP subscription to HackTheBox. So that's the one we're working on right now. Oh, by the way, for anybody who just came in on the raid, my name is Blaise. I've been in professional offensive security for the last 7 years, and I've been in IT for 15 years. And we just come in and we have fun. Normally we're doing just news all night. It's kind of a slow news night, and I thought, let's have a little bit of fun since I missed Saturday and Sunday stream, and we'll just have a good time. So yeah, we're doing some HackTheBox too. A friend of mine had pretty bad nerve damage from an ATV accident. He had, but he had to be helicoptered out. Oof, yeah. Sometimes they get really bad. I've been very fortunate for the ones that I've had. I've rolled 2 ATVs. One because one of the linkage bolts for the suspension, I was leaning real hard into a turn. I'm coming around to the left. I'm leaning real hard, and the right linkage bolt for the suspension came out. And so I was leaning, and then after that, it just went, goosh, dumped me over. That wasn't a lot of fun. I was just fine from that one too, though. A little bit of soreness, getting over it. This one, though, what happened is there was a bump in the path that was hidden by some grass, and so I didn't see it. So when we hit it, it bucked us up and to the left, and I could have probably saved it, but like I said, my 3-year-old son was sitting in my lap, so I couldn't get up and keep him stable and control the ATV. So I balled him up and ditched. That was the only viable option I could see. Oh, that's all right. It's a little bit annoying right now because all the pain meds have worn off because it's that time of the night, and I let that happen on purpose so I could take them before bed and actually get some decent sleep. So I could try to get some recovery. My wife was really sweet and took care of the kids today after I got done with work, so I could try and get some extra sleep and recover a little bit better. Oh, what is this? Security snapshot. We could take a PCAP. Yeah, pool shot. He was just, like I said, he was just fine. I took all the damage, and I'm perfectly fine with that. He still had fun. I asked him later, it's like, hey, before the accident, did you have fun? No. Falling off was a bad idea. I was like, buddy, that wasn't supposed to be part of the plan. So, but he was so good, guys. He was amazingly well behaved at the hospital. We were there for like 5 hours just because of that's how long you spend at the ER, right? Thankfully, if nothing's bad. And he was so well behaved. He got a giant hamburger and a milkshake for dinner. I spoiled him a bit because he was really good. All right, let's see what I don't see any packets happening here though. What happens if I download this? So we get 1.pcap in here. It's 24 bytes. Somehow I doubt this has got anything in it. Let's see, do we have Wireshark? We don't. Here, let's go get some. Let's get us some Wireshark action going on real quick. Quick apt update. Because for 24 bytes, I mean that's pretty much all I think header overhead in a PCAP file. I don't think there's any packets in there. Let's go check it real quick. The good news is on the rib front, I don't feel the Rice Krispie treats over there anymore. I had a whole lot of snack, crackle, and pop action happening. Let's see. We just do Wireshark? Do lib Wireshark. Yeah, we could just do apt install Wireshark. Let's do that. Let's get us a little packet capture analysis going. All right. Let's get some Wireshark and go open this thing up. See what we get. Do we see anything in here? Yep, a whole lot. Nothing. So what if we actually go, let's go do a port scan against this, and then we'll reload it, and we'll see if we see anything in here. Because what does it say? It says 5-second PCAP plus analysis in here. So let's go do another nmap scan against this guy, just to see if we can generate some traffic on it real quick. That's about 5 seconds. We don't see anything happen in here. Let's go look at something though. What was our download URL? Copy download. This should go straight to download 1 in here. So do we have like another one we can get? Download 3, nope. We'll just go to download. Nothing in there. Let's see what the little hint said. So after running a security snapshot, the browser redirects to a path of something ID where ID represents the number of the scan. What is the something? Download. What was download? So let's look at our network tools. Blow this guy up. Let's see, where's our network debugger? Sorry, I know this is really tiny. I don't know if I can blow this up. Oh, I can. Sweet. Let's see, so where's it trying to get this from? I don't typically use no request. Yes, there was. Yeah, it's download. Browser is redirected to a path of the format something/1, where the ID represents the ID number of the scan. What's the something? The something's download. Hey, Jay, what's up, dude? So, I mean, when we run this, it's not redirecting us anywhere. Why is Linux pen testing always labeled network pen testing? I mean, typically the way those break down, Jay. Hang on one second. Let me get something going here. Oh, wait. What is this? Wait. There we go. Hang on one second. Let me get the tablet booted up. I'll kind of give you a quick breakdown of the differences here. Honestly, y'all should just be happy I'm even wearing a shirt. God, putting a shirt on was such a pain. I think I need to reboot my computer. It's acting like a butt. All right, so question is, why is Linux penetration testing always labeled as a network pen test? It depends kind of on what perspective you're coming from. Typically, because a lot of Linux systems, when they exist, they're not directly linked together, right? They're typically a little bit independent. They might have connections between each other, right? But they're not managed by like a central source, like something like Active Directory, right? Where in Active Directory, you've got an entire collection of like Windows machines, and all those have a shared authentication. They've got a set of shared resources that go between them. In Linux, yeah, these might be connected systems, but they're not necessarily interconnected like in the same way something like Active Directory does. You can do that in Linux with certain systems, but nobody usually goes that far with it. Very few cases do they actually do this. So usually whenever you're attacking these systems, like if you're an attacker here, when you're attacking Windows, a lot of times you're actually attacking Active Directory or maybe even Entra, right? If they're using a lot of cloud stuff. But whenever you're attacking Linux systems, you're usually going to each individual system and looking at them. You might find something that allows you to traverse from one machine to another, but you're not attacking like an overarching organizing system between them. So it's a lot of network activity between these systems when this occurs. Versus something like when you work with Active Directory, a lot of times you're working with what you might call like identity attack paths in here. Where it's like, okay, cool. If I compromise one system, I know I can get to another, and there because this is the let's say from doing our information gathering, we know that that's the administrator system. And then from there, we could jump to one of the servers. Okay, that server was logged into by a domain admin. We can now steal his credentials and jump and take over the entire domain. The chances of you compromising one system and compromising all the Linux systems is pretty niche. It usually comes down to you might have to go compromise an administrator system and maybe get their SSH keys or some other authentication material that allows you to then access all of these Linux systems. It's just a slightly different approach between the two of them. And a lot of times you see these kind of all mixed into one environment too. You'll see a bunch of Linux systems running alongside a bunch of Windows systems. Yeah, pretty much, Jay. It's like the Linux systems are more or less independent with interoperability. The Windows systems are more just fully interoperable between each other because they all have a shared set of common resources between them. For example, you're not going to go usually configure. What would be a good way to describe that? I'm trying to think. So in like a Linux environment, you're not going to typically all these Linux machines deploy with like a certain set of pre-configured stuff. They're typically deployed purpose-built with a certain configuration pushed to them, versus in Windows, the configuration is all controlled by Active Directory. There can be things that control these in Linux. Like, for example, you might have an Ansible server that's sitting out there, right? So Ansible is one that I love to attack if I can find it, because Ansible will do that kind of same thing where it's got all these interconnections between all of these and is configuring them. But it's still not the kind of all-encompassing thing that Active Directory is. So I'd say that's probably usually why those get kind of specified like that, is that if you're going just after a Linux environment, you might classify it as like a network penetration test. Let's see. I'm taking the ISC2 CC exam tomorrow. Should be good practice before I take the Security Plus exam. Awesome, Noipi. Good luck, dude. I believe in you. I believe you're going to crush it. Crush it like you crush things. I can't think of anything right now. Ken over here just like casually dropping. When I was doing my master's at MIT, damn, dude, that's some heavy credits to drop there. We had Project Athena. All the Unix workstations at MIT had centrally managed authentication via Kerberos. That was a good 10 years before AD was even invented, but the concept was very similar. Oh yeah, dude, Kerberos has been around for a while, and it amazes me how badly Windows screwed up Kerberos. Hack that planet. What's up, dude? How you doing, man? I'll tell you what, give me 1 sec, guys. I have got to go get some water. I don't think I've drank enough today, and that is bothering my ribs horribly. So give me 1 sec. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Guess who's back? Back again. Blaise is back. Tell a little friend. Oh shit, that hurt. My range of motion is actually what kills me the most over here. So I went out there. A sock had passed out on the couch. She's such a hardworking mom. She's great, and she's like, "Hey, I heard you telling stories. What were the guys saying about the ATV?" And I was like, "Oh, they said I should get just a life-size plush ATV and be done with it." And she just started dying laughing. She thought that was the funniest thing she's heard today. So good job on that one, y'all. Let's see. Two of my classmates passed the Security Plus, and this whole time I'm the only one actually helping them with all the practical work. And I'm the one who didn't pass the exam. Oh, no, I beat. I got a guy in my building who walks 3 French bulldogs on a forked leash. I casually refer to them as Kerberos, but I think the reference is lost on him. I love that. I think that's great. All right, so I'm looking at this. I'm not seeing any redirects happen here, right? Let's trash all this. So yeah, it just sends us to 1.pcap. They're all 24 bytes. There's not a lot in there. Is there something in this file? Downloads 1. Yeah, there's like nothing in there. Hey, Aqua, what's up, man? We're doing cap over on HackTheBox tonight. Just having a little bit of a chill out stream. Since I got injured over the weekend, we're just having a little bit of fun here. What is the something? Wait, hold on. Is it download or downloads? Is that where I'm screwing this up? No, it's download. I don't get it. What do you want here? We're not redirected to any page. Oh, wait, hold on. Actually, I think it's data. I think that's what it wants. Gotcha. Actually, I just realized that. Yeah, we're going to the data URL, but we're getting these other ones. So could we access any other user's information here? Let's see. Looks like it didn't like that. What if we go to like data 3? What's that I'm seeing?
Caution. A virus has been detected.
Hack_smarter virus detected in the network.
Oh, what's up, Tyler and friends? How y'all doing? All my hack smarting people. Y'all hacking smarter? And yes, P44, you're right. It was data that it wanted. I was thinking the file to the PCAP. Yes, hack smarter. What's up, guys? Welcome in, Raiders. My name is Blaise, by the way, in case you didn't know that. And I am currently injured with a massive rib injury from being thrown off an ATV over the weekend. But on the plus side, we're just going to chill out and do a little Hack the Box tonight. I got the OSEP just by watching Tyler. Dude, Tyler's awesome, man. Hey, you know what I just realized? It is T minus, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days until he goes full time. It's gonna be here fast. Not quite. Wait, oh, it's October 1st. I thought it was... Dude, my months are all jacked up. Okay. T minus 36 days then. Or something like that. Yeah, I realized where I got that wrong. Let's look at something here real quick. Yeah, guys, we're just messing around tonight. We're going through Cap over on HackTheBox. Just have a little bit of fun, chilling out, and chatting tonight. Yeah, but I got thrown off an ATV over the weekend and landed on my shoulder and just damaged all of the ribs on my left side. Nothing broken, but the muscles are definitely beat to hell. Don't give him a heart attack. Nah, he's got this. He's gonna crush it. I have faith in him. Oh, Storage, you're getting ready for the EJPT. Nice, man. Get some. I love hearing about everybody like getting ready to like get after it and take those certifications. What I always tell everybody is, hey, the certs are most helpful in the beginning of your journey, and then they kind of slowly fall off after that. But they are really good for like getting you a foundation and getting you in the door. I love math. I'm a giant math nerd. Don't make the mistake of like where a lot of people do is like they get to calculus and then they stop and they think I have mastered math. No, it goes way beyond that. That's really like the beginning. It's the same thing for a lot of these certifications, even up to something like the OS 3E, right? Like the big certifications, even those, they're really just like the stepping stone to like this great big giant open world of security. So I'm not saying you even need to do those two. It's kind of like, it's like an RPG. You can choose your own adventure. You don't have to finish the main quest line. You can go pick your own quest line. Oh, let's see here. So if we come over here to this PCAP thingy, let's let it load up. So it goes to /data/1. So I guess we're assuming Nathan is user 1 in here. Let's try something quick. Maybe there's a user 0. Nope, we're just user 0 in here. So nothing in data 5. Hold on. I lost my inspection window. Where's our network debug? There we go. So what happens when we go to like data 5 in here? It looks like what's happening is we're probably getting 302'd back. What's our response here? Raw. Give me the raw response. Not what I want. Response header. Where's the response code though? I realize you probably can't see it because my big old head's in the way. Oh yeah, 302 location is just goes back. Okay. So what we could probably do is go through and do something like a directory brute force and see if we can hit any other user IDs in here. Maybe do like 1 to 100 as a quick check. Hey Kaiju, what's up, man? So many certs out there. I'm focusing on what I need to for the path I'm going, and that's the smart way to do it, man. Think about kind of like where you want to go, and then work backwards from there. Like, okay, eventually I want to be in this kind of area. What's the foundational knowledge I need? So, like, for example, I'm a huge fan of 0 Point Security's Red Team Ops course, the one put out by Rostamouse. I really thoroughly enjoyed that course, and unfortunately, he had to go and update it and make it extra awesome. So now the entire playlist I had of us doing fun shenanigans in that lab is all outdated now. I guess it was a good thing I did it when I did, because I don't know if I could really do it in the current lab iteration, which is a bummer personally, but also it's a better lab setup the way he's got it set up now. When he was on Snap Labs, it was a bit too restricting. It was good for what it was at the time, but he's moved on to bigger and better things. Maybe just like a certain Tyler that I know. Let's go through here. Are we able to access other user scans? Let's say no. Wrong answer. What do you mean wrong answer? Probably wants us to do like a quick directory brute force on this. I don't know why the audio being so weird. It sounds like the dial-up is hitching whenever it plays. This computer probably needs an update. I'm at the point where I feel like the skills and experience are greater than the certs. Oh, absolutely, Jay. Yeah. Once you actually get that first job, every year after that, it kind of inverts like what is usable in here. Oh, let me clear this stuff out. Once you get that first like offensive security role, what happens is the usefulness of those certs, right, just goes like this, and it kind of like peters out around year 3. So like, let's say like this is an 80% importance at year 0. Then once you get down here to about year 3, really it's down to about 20% and more or less stays there. Like it becomes such a non-issue for your certs once you kind of get through this, and it just kind of dips down like this over those first 3 years of your offensive security career. And really, you could actually apply this even to a lot of other specialty fields. Once you get into them, that certification becomes less and less value, and it's more about like what is your experience. So on the flip side, right? So let's say this is certs, right? Then on the flip side, at about 20% here, it's kind of like your work experience, and it kind of comes up like this until it hits about 80%. And they just kind of invert in here. And this would be like your skills and experience. We just picked up a reverse engineer for our pen test team that had 0 certs but a great skill set. That's awesome, man. Yeah. For the most part, like I said, this is largely true for most folks, but there's a lot of folks it doesn't apply to. Like ones that just get after it, they've got either a natural aptitude for it and are very self-motivated. Eventually, though, I think the problem is a lot of people, they get stuck down here in cert land and they think, okay, who's going to teach me what I need to know next? The big kicker that you need is you need to be learning through this process here of being in cert land how to gain the skills yourself. So using the skills that are being distilled to you to figure out how to distill your own new skill set. That's where I think a lot of people really get stagnated and fail at, is understanding that portion here so they can make this transition to where they become very valuable contributors to their team. I've been involved in AppSec in one way or another since 2004. I've never gotten a single cert because they didn't exist back then. Ken, I graduated from high school in 2002. Back when I thought I was really cool, when I was like manipulating what is it? I'm trying to think. What was it called? Just manipulating the URL to find like hidden systems and stuff. Basically doing like IDORs back before IDOR was a thing. Let's see. What do we want to use for this? Maybe we have GoBuster on here. No, I don't. Let's install GoBuster. Do us a little GoBuster action. I gotta remember how to use GoBuster. I haven't used it in so long. Let's see. GoBuster. And actually, let's do a little bit of things. So, let's see. 4i in range. Hold on. I'm thinking Python in here. I think it's 1 to... I gotta remember what the syntax is. It's been so long since I had to do this. I'm like, what was our syntax? Oh, actually, I think I don't need this. Was that right? Maybe it was range. I can't remember what the damn thing is. Remember, cross-site scripting was described as a vulnerability. I read about it on Slashdot. Dude, I wish I understood JavaScript more back then. Is it curly braces? Dude, I'm drawing a blank here. Let's go see. I haven't had to do a lot of Bash recently. Yeah, there it is. All right, so let's do from 1 to 100, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna echo that, and then we're gonna stick it over into, we'll call it nums.txt. So now in nums.txt, what we can do is we can do a little GoBuster action. So what we want to do is a directory. Hey, Nid, what's going on, man? Ah, there it goes. I gotta pop out of my ribs. Let's see. I'm trying to remember what we got. Okay, so we need to specify the URL. So our URL is going to be that was not what I wanted to do. Go away. What's this library? Ah, go away. All right, so what we want to do is we bring this down. Ah, there it is. Let's come over here. I think it's slash data and the iterable. Wait, now it's showing up as data too. Oh. What is this? This PCAP actually has some stuff in it. I see. What do we have here? Hold on. Let's go look at this real quick. What's in this new PCAP we've got? Let's see. It looks like we have a connection. I think that's us right there. What's our IP address? So we are 10.10.14.5. Oh, this has a different IP address. Oh, wait, no, that is us. Never mind. I'm an idiot. So interesting, though. It's just a TCP like shutdown message. Okay. Interesting, we're getting some stuff in there, but not necessarily the same stuff. I was lucky enough to get a 4-month contract after 2 months, or 2 months after the OSCP cert. If anyone is feeling hopeless, also Google dorking helps a lot to find pen test companies and just throwing yourself out there. Yeah, I took the original OSCP when it first came out in 2010, I want to say, maybe 2011. It was very early. Like my OSID number is 4 digits that early. And I never sat for the exam, and I kind of felt bad about that, but I learned the material really well, and it served me very well going forward from that. So I was a bit surprised when I retook it in 2018 after I became a pen tester. I was like, you know what? I had the OSCP hanging over my head for 8 years. Let's go knock this thing out real quick. And the labs hadn't changed very much. So I was happy to see a lot of their changes going. The problem is the value proposition between them because the labs are so expensive. And their OneLearn platform has some really weird restrictions because I had a coworker go sign up for it for fun, basically. And he was telling me about it. I was like, this is really odd in some of the restrictions they've got. Back then, people who knew JavaScript weren't considered real programmers. They're not really considered real programmers. JavaScript is such a beatdown, man. Yeah, still true. This is really odd, though. So Data 3 didn't get us anything. What about... Is Data 1 still in there? Data 1 is still in here. Let's look at something real quick. Do we have like any cookie set that automatically logged us in as Nathan? So let's go to application. No, it's different here. Storage, cookies. All right, we don't have any cookies set. So it's not loading up anything in here. Cache storage, nothing. Session storage, nada. So it's just automatically default logging us in as Nathan. So there's nothing like in the cookies or any of the persistent tokens in the web browser that we can kind of tamper with in here. So let's go do our little brute force and see if we can find anything in here. So what is our URL? Let's do. I screwed that up. Hold on a sec. Let's drop that in here. Doot. Slash data, and I believe we tell it tag word list, and I think we just do nums.txt. And then what we want to do is we want to have positive status codes, which would be like, let's see. Actually, I don't think we even need to necessarily hit any of those because I think it should be good. I thought the negative status code was actually already set. Hold on. Where is that? We could just do it with TAC B because we want to ignore 302s. Okay, so only 1 and 2 essentially came up in here. Hey, Dan, what's up, man? I use JavaScript to automate my coffee order. Actually, I'll tell you all a funny one. So I had a client that I was testing a system for them, and part of it was a web app. And it wants to auto log you out every 5 minutes if you're not actively looking at the thing, which is really dumb because what it does is it pops up another window, then that's the window you're actually working in. So it hides the other window, right? It's two different windows in the operating system, and one basically hides the other because you blow the other one up to full screen so you can have maximum working space. So I just made a quick JavaScript clicker that every time the keep me logged in button popped up, it clicked it. Dan, I'm surviving, man. I had an ATV wreck over the weekend and busted up my ribs. So that was why there was no stream on Saturday and Sunday. But I'm hanging in there, dude. Let's see. Okay, so data didn't give us a lot of what we wanted in here. Let's see, was there anything else that was missing from this? Let's see, what about for network stats? We just got netstat. For IP config, we just got IP. For the dashboard, we got a whole lot of nothing in here. Let's go look at what we had for network activity, though. Loaded this. Let's see, we get a lot of JavaScript. And we got some CSS. So notice how it's not making like any calls to populate all this stuff in here when this is happening. Notice how we're loading a document, style sheet, script, image, and a favicon. That's it. So it's not like this is loading up anything to populate this with. This is all static data in here. So we're not really worried about like, hey, where's this data coming from? Oh, but look at this. Did y'all see that? So what we get is we make a call to capture. And it says 302. We found that. And then it redirected us over to data 2. So I wonder if that capture interface might be what we need. So can we change that? See, now it's redirected us back to data 1. Interesting. Doesn't number 2 have different values than data 1? It did. So when we captured data 1, it was all blank. Data 2 looks like all it caught was the teardown sequence for the TCP session. We got a bunch of FINACs in here. And it says it's only capturing 5 seconds worth of data over in this. So that's not terribly unusual. What I'm thinking though is, and in fact, now we're all the way up to data 4 on this. So the question it was asking is, can we get to other users' scans? So I'm going to actually get the hint on this one. You can also try FUF. Yeah, that's basically what we're doing. I don't see other user scans in here. Maybe we need to get some more digits in here. So let's do that real quick. So we're going to go to 10,000 in here. And actually, let me do something real quick. Let's get rid of nums.txt. And then what we'll do is we will change this to like 10,000 in here. There we go. And then what we'll do is we'll rerun GoBuster again. So we got 1, 2, 3, and 4, which we know we created. So let's go see what else we might be able to get out of this. So I'm still saying that, no, it doesn't look like we can necessarily get to any of these others. We already know that data 0 wasn't in there. The only thing I can think of is that if we're constantly hitting the capture, then what might happen is we might be able to force it to give us a new data download with some packet capture of another user's information in there. Another thing we could also do is we could just load up a very basic word list in here. Let's see. Do I have the user word list in here? Let's see. Users. I think it's share. Is it word list? No, let's see it in there. I think it's word list in here. Let's see, that's for DNS enumeration. Actually, I tell you what, let's do this. Hey, Death Socks, thanks for coming online, man. Welcome in. And I hope everybody's having a absolutely terrific Taco Tuesday. Hope you got some tacos today. Let's see, do we have seclist in here? All right, let's install that. Apt install seclist list. I do like seclist because it's got some good stuff in it. It'll take it a second to download though, because it's a bit chunky. On this one, it doesn't 44 just because it's a really chopped down, like very light version of Kali, but we can toss it in there real quick. Thankfully, I've got pretty stellar internet here. Literally, I think the only time the internet has gone down is when they were doing construction down the street from me and they cut the fiber line. It's been pretty rock solid. There we go. So now we should have, what is this? Sec list, yes. Word list, no, I think it's discovery web, yes. Yeah, there we go. That's all of our word lists we want in there. Hey, Zero, thanks for coming online, man. Welcome in. I hope you're having a fantastic Taco Tuesday. It is Taco Tuesday. Let's see. Where is the one I was looking for? Raft. Here we go. So, I love these Raft word lists. These tend to work out pretty well for me. So, the medium directories lowercase. This one usually works out pretty good. So, let's go throw that one against it now. Let's see. Clear this out. We're going to leave the 302 in there because we don't want that. In fact, we're going to take out data as well. That's what. For now, I'm going to take that out. We'll do that. Word list, we're going to do user, share, sec list, discovery, web, Raft, medium, directories, and lowercase. There we go. We'll run that one against it real quick. See if we get anything back from this. So data and IP we're already aware of. How'd you backsearch to history? Oh, so in a lot of bash terminals or ZSH is this one. You hit Control R, then you can start searching for like stuff you've run before. So like, for example, I searched for GoBuster, but I didn't have it. But it came back with like the latest matching thing. So for example, if I knew I had a ping command, I could get this in here. I can hit an arrow to come in and edit it, or I can just hit enter to like resubmit it in here. Yeah, so you just hit Control R and it'll back search through the history of what you've run. Super handy. Oh, look at that. It gave us a new capture, data 5. Oh shit, I killed it. Damn it. I hit Control C to copy it, and I killed the scan. Damn it. Hey, Script Kid, what's up, man? Ever thought about using Ansible for your usual commands, start of a pentest phase, for example, asset discovery, so looping over word lists for directory fuzzing, etc.? Or do you run your own handmade scripts? Or do you know anyone who uses Ansible? It's been on my mind for quite a while to use Ansible and just grow or optimize the playbooks over time instead of using Bash or Python scripts. To me, seems reasonable and scalable because I happen to like YAML. I haven't seen anybody doing that with Ansible. I have a lot of friends that when they go set up their testing systems, they'll start with like a fresh install and they will run an Ansible playbook to go install a lot of their favorite and or custom tools that they use. And a lot of times they've just customized it for their particular style of going through and doing recon and enumeration. So I haven't seen anybody doing that. I think that'd actually be really something interesting to go through and write up. Like if you wanted to have something that you could write up and present, like, hey, look, this is me kind of looking at an interesting way to do some stuff on like for a penetration test. Having Ansible playbooks for doing that, I haven't seen anybody do that. Somebody probably has, to be quite honest. But it would still make an interesting thing that you could write up as like, hey, here's an example of some interesting work that I've done. Hey Trey, what's up, man? I just looked into cap and not going to spoil it, but I found the other user's PCAP pretty simple with an IDOR. Okay. Which surprises me the way this is functioning in here. I have an idea about how it might function. Let me go look at this real quick. So it said we had data 5 in here. We do have data 5, and there's a lot of stuff coming through from data 5. So let's go ahead and download that. But the most recent one it did actually was data 3. Okay, let's download that. Let's go look at that data 5 one real quick, because let's see, what size were they? Let's see. Did it not download? Oh, that's weird. It downloaded cap 5, even though we went to cap 3. That's weird. Oh, let's go open it. Let's go see what we've got in there. It looks like it's picking up traffic from our directory busting in here. So one thing we could also do is, if we wanted to see if we're getting anybody else's traffic, right? 10.10.10.245, that's the server. 10.10.14.5 is us. So what we can do is we can apply a filter where we can say ip.addr does not equal 10.10.10.245. And so what that'll say is if the source or destination is, oh, that's the wrong IP address. It would be 10.10.14.5. Basically saying if we are not the source or destination, then we want to see it. Okay, so nothing up in here. So this might not be the correct path to kind of bark up. Let's see. So interesting that the capture, it looks like probably what it caught here. We clear this out. Is it looks like it just caught us. Let's just filter by HTTP real quick. And then let's search for HTTP dot. I think we could do .get here. Maybe not. What is it? I think it's method. I forget where it is in here. Hold on. Yeah, so just by looking at this, it looks like it's very clearly like just looking at, hey, what are we looking for? And it looks like this is a capture of our brute force, as well, or our directory brute force is what was happening. How do you know it's directory traffic and Wireshark? It could be the same IP, but a different location. Not necessarily, because if you think about how the networking is going to work, right? Every machine, every IP address pair has a source and destination to it. Unless they manage to, when I connect it to the VPN, have my machine running code from my IP address, it's not going to show up in there. So we know one of the IP address of the pair, right? We know the server address. We know our address. So if we filter out every packet that happens in here that's not our address, then if there was anything left, we knew it would have to be traffic from a separate system that was happening here. We didn't see that in this capture when it happened. So see right here, we see that it's running a get to Ekran, Electro, eList, electrical, email me, all sorts of different stuff that's in that word list. So that's how I'm able to kind of see what it's doing in here. let me look at something real quick here. Let me come back to this. So this sends us over to a capture, but it's just a GET request. And it comes back to 0. So, I mean, I would think if we're over here at this, so we hit this, it calls capture, and then it forwards us over to whatever the data is in here. So I think I'm on the right track with this one, with the 1 in here. So we see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But how do we tell which user it's from? All the sizes are roughly the same in here. Let's make a directory. Let's call this our testing directory, and let's cd over to it. And let's do a little loop here real quick. And let's just do a wget real quick. So wget from this guy. And then what we'll do is we'll just drop in our $I right here. Yeah. So what this is going to do is it's going to try to run a wget against all of these real quick and just download them. Let me take this out. So some of these, what we'll do is, some of those according to their size, we can kind of tell what they are. So like, for example, these are 19 in here. Let's do something real quick. Oh, interesting. All these came back as nothing. Oh, you know what? That comes back to security dashboard. So what we need to do is, let me look at some real quick. wget stop on a redirect. Because it sounds like it's redirecting. Ah, there we go. So what we can do is we can tell wget, don't follow our redirects in here. And then we can try this again. So let's get rid of all of these things. And then let's run that for loop again. So what we'll do is we will max redirect 0. So now it should be ignoring a bunch of these. Yep, so now we just have these. So what does our files here look like? They're all coming back as Unicode in here. So let's look at the diff between one of these. Let's diff 1 and 2. Yeah, so it's just doing download 1, download 2. So let's try this a little bit differently then. Let's get rid of these. And then let's go, instead of accessing the data directory, let's try the download directory. Okay, so then we get nothing in here. So now what we should have is, so now we do get some kind of information in here. See that? So now we've got a 3 and a 5. So let's go open those up real quick. Let's see if there's anything different amongst 3 and 5 in here. Let's come up a directory, put testing, all files. Let's look at 3. 3, it looks like we're doing the same kind of thing in here. Again, nothing from that one, because if we filter out our IP address, we don't get anything. So what we want to do is, let's open a different one. And number 5 also had data in it. It looks like it's doing the exact same thing, though. Let's go look at the source code for the page. Probably something we should have done initially anyway. fact, let's look at this button directly. Let's inspect it real quick. So when we click that, it just loads download 1 in here. Not a ton of action happening here. This is just our table data. And it's all hard-coded, it looks like. And over at network, like, we don't really see a ton of information happening in here, right? So if we reload this, like I'm saying, what we see is we see some styles and some scripts happening in here. Let's see what else it's got for us in here. Sure, let's say we can't access other users' data. What's the ID of the PCAP that contains sensitive data? Now, see, what's crazy is I'm not seeing it in here. As I'm coming through and running through this, the way I would expect to see this is from downloads. We'd see this one in here. So let's do something real fast. Let's get rid of this stuff. And then let's go ahead and download these files real quick. Let's see. Still looking for the information disclosure? I sure am, man. Let's let that run for a second. We'll see what else we can get from it. Let's go back to the beginning here. Okay. So we don't have anything we can really mess with here. So we can't log out. We can't go to settings. We can't go to messages. Messages does nothing. Settings does nothing. Log out does nothing, right? IP just runs our ifconfig command. Network status looks like it's just running netstat as we come through here. We do see one query to 1.1.1.1. What else do we see here? Actually, you know what? There's also an FTP server running on this system, so maybe we should go try and see if we can do anonymous FTP. Let's go look at that real quick while this is running. Noobhacker, thank you for coming online. Welcome in, man. Let's go try that real quick. Let's do FTP to 10.10.10.10 to 45. Let's see. Anonymous. Password. Password. Let us in. Login failed. Let's see. Is it user? Let's try anonymous. No, nothing on the FTP server. Let's CD over back into testing. So again, we're still only getting 1 through 6 in here. I want to go look up any of the cheat sheets. I'm curious about how they're doing this in here, because the web structure looks fairly straightforward. Nothing like that. Again, this comes back as data 2. And what's weird is whenever we hit this guy, right? Let's look at the trace on it again real quick. So we come back over to network. Hey Oreo, what's up, man? We're just doing a little hack the box, having some fun. Let's see. So watch. So we hit the PCAP. We tell it, hey, take a security snapshot. It forwards us over to Capture. Capture is actually running the information in here, right? And then what it does is it 302s us over to whatever the current capture file is. So it's data 2 in here. I love that it puts a little turtle there because it said, hey, the server response time was slow for this. Just see the HTML responses in here. Media and WebSockets. There we go. And let's disable caching. So yeah, so we go to the capture. It initiates something whenever we do capture and turns on a packet capture. And then it takes this guy right here. So I would suspect if like some other user was running on here, we would have seen something by now. Let me try these two again, because I would suspect that one of these would be us and one of us would not be. I don't want to diff those, but let's go open it back up in Wireshark. So if we open 3, this is us. 10.10.14.5 is our IP address. Just to verify, let's double check. Yeah, 10.10.14.5 is us. And so the valid captures we've got are 3 and 5 in here. Right, let's see. Yes, 3 and 5. And this one is also us. I'm glad you think so, Chris, just because I feel like a lot of times CTFs make me feel like an idiot because they're very kind of niche things. Whatever, doing this. Basically, I started off in pen testing professionally because I had just always had an interest in security. I've been messing with computers and finding weird things for them to do from odd corners of the internet, essentially since like the 2nd or 3rd grade. I remember like actually breaking my first computer in the 2nd grade. It was a testing computer at my school, and I found a way to get a perfect score every time. Because the tests were so easy, I always had a perfect score in it. So then I started messing with it, and then I found a way that you could answer all the questions wrong and still get a perfect score. And then it's just kind of been a lifelong kind of thing from there of just, hey, I wonder what's possible. Really, I guess the motto of somebody who wants to not necessarily work in security, but have like that hacker mindset is, I wonder if, and just run with that and tinker with it and play with it. So before you started enumerating, only number 1 was available, right? Yes, correct. And now that I understand the function a little bit better, it's because we initiated the number 1 capture in here, right? When we hit this this item over on the dashboard, it actually goes to /capture, and then it forwards us to whatever the latest one is. So like I hit capture, and then eventually it's going to 302 us over to data 4. We have 0 packets available in here. CTFs are like escape rooms. Maybe fun, but going at an escape room wouldn't help you if you were held hostage in a room for real. I know, right? There's definitely, I like to call CTFs, they are great learning environments, don't get me wrong, but I like to call them kind of like Sudoku for hackers. That's pretty much what they are. Yeah, so they were all ourselves. That's what I'm wondering here. So Trey already figured it out. He's like, hey, I know how to get this. And now I'm feeling extra dumb because Trey already figured it out. Hey, hang on one sec, guys. I'm back. Yeah, and we only have, it's not like there's a, I would expect if there was a particular user we were downloading this for, we'd see something like user equals Bob or something in this. or some other indicator that says, hey, by the way, this is a separate user's information. So one thing we could do is if we kept spamming the capture in here, actually, that's an idea. Let's try that real quick. It captures every 5 seconds, right? Let me think about something real quick. So let's do something real quick. Let's curl this real fast. So if we go curl the capture interface, it kicks off a new capture, right? So what do we get when we curl this? So what we do is we get the redirect. I gotta remember how to do this. Curl, follow, redirect. What is it? Tac L. Okay. So now if we do a curl with a tac L on here. Then we get this giant HTML return in here, right? But what we can do is we can actually go find out where this is. Wait, what is this? Class S settings. Hold on, I'm seeing a lot more in this than I expected to see. Interesting. I'm seeing more in the HTML here than I was prepared to see. Like some settings and whatnot. I do see some lorem ipsum in here. Here we go. So what we can do is actually we can search for this. So let's do this again. What we're going to do is we're going to grep for this. Oh, I think you can actually do it this way. This is a trick a buddy just told me. Grep with Perl regex. Yeah, you can use TAC-P for this. So, by the way, if you didn't know this, for curl, you can actually do a TAC-P in there and use Perl-compliant regular expressions. I did try 0. It was like one of the first things I tried. Hold on. If it's just 0, I'm going to be so pissed. Oh, that's some fucking bullshit. Because I tried 0. Ugh. This is why I said I freaking hate CTF sometimes. That was worth the swear jar. By the way, tonight after the stream, I'll go make the charitable donation. This is what I was talking about. See this? Source and destination. These are 192s. They're outside the 10 network. This is completely different from what we'd be looking at. Ugh. I tried 0 in the beginning and got nothing. This is some bogusness. All right, cool. We're back on the track. All right, what is the ID of the PCAP file? Oh, 0. All right. Which application layer protocol in the PCAP file can the sensitive data be found in? Well, let's go take a look at the PCAP real quick. So we have HTTP and we have some FTP. I'm guessing we've got some FTP creds in here. So let's do a little bit of FTP action. We see Nathan and we see his password right there. Let's see. pass. Can I copy that? You let me copy it? Copy? Copy, please? It has copy? Copy that. There. All right, so now we've got Nathan's. We have Nathan's login information from the PCAP that I already looked for, and I swear was not there. So that would mean FTP is our vulnerable protocol, which is usual. What other surface does the password work? Well, let's go see what else we've got in here. So we have FTP. It probably works in SSH as well. What was his username? Just Nathan. Let's see. So let's go try that real quick. Let's come over here. Let's see if we can SSH. So SSH to Nathan at 10, 10, 10, 245. Accept it. And then what was his password? Looks like it works for that too. So then if we go get our user flag right there. Oh wait, I didn't copy it. Also works on SSH. Makes sense. We got a flag. Yay! Alright, what's the full path of the binary in the machine that has special capabilities to abuse to obtain root privileges? OMG, I wonder what that could be. Maybe it's a SUID binary. Jeez, can't believe it was 0. I can't believe it was 0. That was some bogusness. Oh, let me see. I gotta remember what the command is. Find SUID binaries. I believe that's what it is.
A virus has been detected.
Hey,
The
whoa!
wall virus detected in the network.
What's up, brother? Dude, what were you playing tonight? By the way, guys, Left Wall is my homie. He's my boo. We used to game a lot together when I actually had the time to do it. Hey, Monk, what's up, man? The Left Wall. Doing. Played a bit of content warning with the Tuesday crew. Nice, man. Oh, dude, I've been, I took a header off of ATV this weekend and busted up my ribs pretty good. Thankfully, nothing broken, but up until actually earlier today, I had a little bit of snap, crackle, and pop action happening in here. A little bit of Rice Krispie treats. So we're just having a little bit of a chill night tonight and doing a little bit of Hack the Box playing. Yeah, man, it could have been a lot worse. Badger, you know, my 3-year-old son, he was sitting in my lap, and so when we got thrown off, I just balled up on him and I took the hit, and he was just fine. But that's the breaks, and I'm okay with that. Let's see. This is not what I want. See if I can find this in here real quick. Where's the little find command in here? Actually, you know what we can actually try first is we can see if we even have sudo on this box. We do. So is he a sudoer? It doesn't look like he is. Dang kids are made of rubber anyway. Oh, dude, he probably would have been fine. He was wearing his helmet, but it was just natural dad instinct. He was, because it was his first time on an ATV, so he's riding really loose in the saddle. And so when it bucked him up, I just balled up on him. I was like, protect the little one. Let's see if I could just sudo up with Nathan. Let's see. Nathan's password. Let's see if I got it correct. I doubt he's a sudoer, because that would be just too easy. Yeah, Nathan's not in the sudoers. Of course. Found something interesting pillaging the FTP. Oh, did you now? Let's go FTP over to that thing. I think we can do it the same way. Nathan at 10.10.10.245. Let's go do that real quick. Let's see. There's our user directory. So it looks like when you log in as Nathan, it just drops you into his user directory. So since we have SSH access, there's not really much extra that we can do with FTP, because I mean we can just browse the entire directory using using SSH. I think this is the commando one. All right, well, have a good night, man. Always good to see you again, dude. You're referring to the FTP dir? It just dropped me into Nathan's when I did that, it just dropped me into Nathan's directory. Didn't look like there was anything special in there. Actually, let's go look at his well, he has no bash history. Because see, it's a symlink to dev null. So they do this so that way if you go look in the history, like there's nothing in there. We could look in his bash RC file though. Let's go look in that. See if there's anything interesting in there. Did he customize his bash RC? Doesn't look like it. Hold on, when I looked in Nathan's FTP directory, though... Because watch, when I FTP to him, right? Didn't. Hang on. Let me get his password again real quick. Well, tell me the person. Yeah. So when I did it, it just put me into home directory here. So in here, well, yeah, users.txt, that's the hash for the, that's just the flag. That's the user flag up here. Whenever you capture that. Up here, Troy. So we already captured that, right? We submitted the, where is it? What was the rating? Yeah, it was pretty easy. What's the full path of the binary on this machine that has special capabilities that can be abused to obtain root privileges? Okay. So what we're looking at now, though... Yeah. No, you're all good, man. So we got some stuff over here. So we have Sue, mount, ping. Wait a second. So we have umount, pk exec, mount, g password, password. I don't know what chfin is. I hope this is not another fuse mount exploit, because that was a pain in the butt. Are there any other users in here, though? Just Nathan. Let's see, what do we have mounted in here? A lot. I hope this is not a another fuse exploit, because I've used it, but I didn't understand necessarily what it was doing with the file system overlays. Let me run this again real quick. Yeah, when you FTP to it, it just drops you into his home directory, and then you can just CD up into other directories in it. It's pretty bad. So, for some reason I'm seeing ping in here. I don't remember ping ever being... So it's not over here. In user bin, ping is not flagged as a SUID binary. However, excuse me, it is over here. See that? Let's go look at GTFO bins. Is there one for ping in here? For ping and hping. Let's see. There's also mount and U-mount. We have SSH key sign. That F user mount might be one. But the binary allows to run a super user by sudo. It does not drop elevated privileges and may be used to access the file system, escalate or maintain privileges. So I don't know if we know what the sudo options are. We can go look in Etsy and see. I think it's Etsy. Yeah, so we don't have any permissions to read the sudoers file, which is not uncommon. I saw what you were talking about. I thought escalate.py though was a different thing in there. I don't even see that in here. Let's go see if we can find it real quick since we're getting onto the end of the stream, and then I'll explain how we would actually find this in here. Let's pipe that to death. No. Oh, Oreo, it was dumb too. The way it happened. Because it was something I'd already checked, but it didn't work the first time, I swear. Somebody's gonna go clip the replay though and figure out where it did. There's so much stuff in here. It's in his home directory? No way. Look where I'm at. I'm in there. There's no escalate.py in here. I got a bash history, a logout, a cache, vim info. Maybe it's if it's in cache. It's cooked. Let me go check something real quick and see if I'm not missing something on this. Let's go look real quick. Okay, so actually I looked at another guy. He was using getcap to check what everything was. I think if you're on a shared box, though, that might be the issue for this. Actually, I gotta look at what getcap actually gives us real quick. That enables recursive search where we're starting from. I've actually used getcap a lot whenever I needed to escalate. Interesting. I see where they're going with this, though. I think that... yeah, that explains it, Trey. Somebody else dropped escalate.py on there. And the reason is because Python 3.8 has the cat for set UID. See that? Which is funny because user bin Python 3.8, when we actually searched for SUID binaries, did not show up in here. See that? In user bin, we don't see Python 3.8. However, when we get cap, we do see that. So let's go take a look at this real quick. So if we look at this guy, Python 3.8 looks like a regular binary. So this is where a SUID binary can kind of like lead you astray a little bit in here. What's funny though is even the guy, he's looking at his home directory. Actually, I could be on a shared box and it's just not in here. Yeah, let's do something real quick. Let's go run this Python 3.8. And what we're going to do is we're going to import OS. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do OS dot, what is it? Yeah, we're just going to do OS set UID 0. Because we have that ability. So now what's going to happen is every time we run a command, we're going to be running it as root in here. So what we can do is we can do OS dot, what is it for OS? Python OS module. I remember what options we've got for the Python OS module. Let's see. Let's see. We have environ. Change directory. Here we go. Sturtle Reflex. Thanks for coming online. Welcome in, man. We're just having a little bit of fun tonight. What was that function? chdir. So now if we come in here and we just do a chdir over to /root. And then I believe it's... that returns our file system path. I forgot how to actually list the directories in here. How do we do that? Python list directory. List directory content. I remember how to do that. Oh, it's just lister. That's it. We do os.listdir. Boop. Hey, Cheddar. We are just eating up a little bit of an easy box over on HackTheBox. We're just having some fun tonight and chilling out. We're doing CAP, which is an easy Linux box, and we're just having some fun with it tonight. I injured my ribs over the weekend, so we're kind of just taking it easy. Normally we'd be doing hacker news all night, but we're just chilling. We're having some fun. I could go spawn a shell, but really all I need is this directory right here. So now I did a lister. I've got that. All I have to do is just get the contents of the root.txt. Which is funny because this is the second HackTheBox where Python was the escalation path that I've done recently. And I don't do them very often. I do them maybe once a month when I want to go chill out. And even then, that's a high number to do. Usually Saturdays and Sundays, we're working on HackTheBot, BOT, or I just call it HackBot, where that's an AI agent to go play HackTheBox for us and have some fun with it, right? But excuse me. But since I am injured, I was like, let's just kind of chill out tonight. We're gonna have a little bit of fun. Let's see. I gotta remember how to do this. Python read file contents. Is it? Yeah, we just open it. So we want to open root.txt. Oh, I forgot to. I forgot. I gotta make that. Gotta make that a file. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say that's gonna be our file to it, and then we're gonna do f dot, what is it? Just read. There we go. And voila, we have the root flag now. Ta-da! And the reason, like Trey was saying, we could have come in here and we could have spawned ourselves a root shell or used this to execute like a root level callback for us, but we didn't need to do that. And that's, I think, what gets a lot of people stuck when they're making the transition from something like capture the flag to like a real world offensive operation, is you don't necessarily need all the access. You need just enough access to get the next thing to leverage for the attack path. And so in here, we didn't need a shell. We needed the contents of this file, and we got it. Let's see. Oh wait, I forgot. It wanted like the full path of whatever we were doing. It was it was user bin. Let's see. It's on 3.8. And then there's the flag right there. Boop. Yeah, just a little bit of fun. Ta-da! All right. What was the root one? Very easy. I'm going to say the root one is actually easier than the other one because it was messed up. Oh, you know what, guys? I forgot. Hang on. Let me see if I can do something real quick. Before we wrap up the stream, hang on. Let me see. Let me make sure I've got it. But I should have something here. Let's see. What do I have here? Oh, I wish Falcon was still on. I don't know if he... Yep. Hey, I actually have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 VIP keys for HackTheBox Labs. Oh, wait, hold on. My system just blanked out on me. There we go. Yeah. So let me see if I can do a giveaway real quick. Hang on. Let's see. Yes, I've got keys for 1 month free VIP for HackTheBox. So let me go log in real quick, and what we'll do is we will do ourselves a little giveaway. Let's see. Let's see. All right. All right. Drop exclamation point HTB Hotel Tango Bravo in the chat to be entered. And then we'll do ourselves a little giveaway here. And there's 5 of them, so if only 5 people register, you're guaranteed to win. So drop that in here. I've got 5 HackTheBox subscription keys in here. I actually may have 10, but I got to double check with Falcon if these are still legit. Oh, yeah, they are. Cool. Yes, I've got 5 of them in here. Well, he sent me some before, and I was confused, but then I realized the last message he dropped me was from like 2024. So I was like, okay, these are the other legit ones on here. And then what I'll do is I will DM you these keys on Twitch. We'll just keep it real simple. All right. So exclamation point HackTheBox in the chat, and then we'll fire the sucker off. And I believe this works over on YouTube as well. Let's go. All right. Yeah, because there's about time. I'm about to start incurring wife aggro, so let's go ahead and fire this off. You all have a very good chance of winning because you're all here. 2 people are going to get screwed. All right, let's do this. All right. Hold on. I got to make a note of this. So we got Kirby Sec. I like my odds. All right, let's see here. Actually, hold on. Is there a way to tell it how many to choose? Let me see. Giveaway options. Hang on. Unique winners. No. Show advanced settings. I don't get a chance to do this too often. Let's see. All right, and there's Oreo. Got one. Oh man, Oreo. No, go away. Let's see. Kirby. We already had Kirby. There we go. Cheddar. So that's number 3. And then Death Socks is number 4. And then Camerix got number 5. All right. There are 5 winners. So give me just a second. I will hear it. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap up the stream, and then I will DM you all your Hack the Box keys. Yep. So now you're obligated. You have to go into Hack the Box and just pwn all the things and just kill it. All right, guys. Let's go check and see who we've got on InfoSec streams. Usually we're the latest ones at night. That's why everybody raids over to Blaise Bits, because we're the ones up the latest. Yep, sure enough. We're up. Attack. And by the way, if you have any raid suggestions over on the big purple platform side, shout them out. Let's see. Who's in the same category? Let's see. Sid and Braythorn are on. We could always go right over to one of them. Own all the things in 1 month? Easy. That's right. There you go, girl. We're going to hook you up. All right. I tell you what, we're going to go right over to Braythorn because he's a fun guy. When you get in there, do me a favor. Drop a Hack the Planet. So Hack the Planet, and if you can, drop some cookie monsters in there. No, legally distinct cookie viruses. There you go. There you go. That's what we want to drop in there. All right, guys. Unfortunately, that's where I've got to wrap it up for tonight. I will get the keys out to everybody here after we wrap up the stream. And I just want all y'all to have a fantastic week. The week is not over. Continue crushing it as usual. I apologize. I could not give you your weekly motivational, get after it, crush, go destroy all the things, and continue on your awesome path. You guys are awesome. I appreciate everybody coming to hang out tonight and putting up with my belly aching about my ribs. But on the plus side, Honey Badger was unfazed, and Honey Badger, true to form, continues to give no Fs. So, oh, thanks, Kirby. I want all y'all to have a fantastic rest of your week. Keep crushing it. I believe in every single one of you. And I want y'all to remember one super, very important thing. And I mean this 100%. And that is, I love you. Peace.